Hey, hey, good morning. The lighting in here is not good. How are you? So happy to be back on Facebook. Actually, I'm gonna open the garage a little bit here to let some light in. How are you? How are you? Hopefully everybody remembered. Hey, Betty. Actually, I think it might be just Betty and I today. Betty's, everybody had stuff going on today for my big return. My big return to Facebook. So good. All right, give me 1 second. Is anybody else, is it just me that's like having serious tired issues right now? Like, I am blaming the season. I have this goal. I want to start getting up earlier in the morning. For 2 days in a row. Big fat fail. All right, ready? Hey, Betty, let's get going here. Yeah, huge fail both days. Yesterday was normal because yesterday was Monday, right? Yeah, we got home. No, I went to bed early. I'm trying to remember my weekend. It was busy. I was at my son's championship baseball weekend, so the OCAA college baseball weekend, which I'll tell you guys all about this morning because it was so inspiring. And I love the inspirational aspect of sport. Like, I love how so many of the lessons that we can derive from watching sports like are directly relatable to our real life. I don't know why it looks so foggy on my, like, it looks like my lens is dirty. I don't know what's wrong with the, sorry guys, I have no idea what's going on. I'm a mess this morning, what can I say? Yeah, I just can't get up. This morning I was supposed to run with friends at 6:30, which was a little earlier than I wanted to. We usually run at 7. But I went to bed early last night. I was out cold by, I would say, well before 10:30. So 7 hours. But I had a period in the night where I kept waking up thinking it was time to get up, but it wasn't time to get up yet. So I think in my mind I decided that I was going to sleep because, and I slept. I did. I looked according to my watch, I slept 8.5 hours last night, and the night before I think I slept 8 hours. So why I'm so tired in the morning, I don't really know. I know there's a thing where like you can almost sleep too much, but I don't think it's come to that quite yet. I think it's just the season. Is anyone else feeling that way? Like, are you guys finding that you're just more tired in the mornings? And like the clocks are gonna go back in what, like a week, 2 weeks, and I can't even imagine what it's gonna look like then, right? Like, anyway, you know, I'm just kind of going with it, and I think sometimes it's okay to just listen to your body, and you know, it's not just like, oh, I want to get up yet. I actually love getting up in the mornings usually, so it's actually unusual. Like, when it's time to get up, like when I wake up and it's, you know, a reasonable time and it's time to get up, like I'm excited to have my coffee. That's definitely like one of the things that gets me up in the morning. I started back into like a morning routine, which I love, so that's exciting to get up to. I actually am really enjoying running in the dark. Like, I love, we meet at the trails, and I love the trails in the dark. Like, it's just my favorite time to be on the trails. So it's really fun to be on the trail early enough that it's dark still. So I want to get up, but physically I'm just like, no, my body does not want to get up. Anyway, that's where I'm at, and I don't know why my camera is so foggy this morning. But it is what it is. We're here, we're doing it. That's what's most important. So for those of you who want to add a hop, increase intensity a little bit for this second round. If you're feeling more comfortable keeping it a march, that's okay. if you're going through like some kind of weird, tired, fatigue, kind of low energy thing like I am, that's, you know, and you normally add a hop, that's okay too. Like, one of the lessons that I really want to impart on you guys, but also myself. So this is something I say every day to you guys, but I need to say this to myself too on the daily, is just go with, you know, resistance. What you resist persists. So I was trying to remember that. What you fight, you strengthen, and what you resist, you persist. So like resistance, or like that fight where you're pushing, right? You're trying to push through something. That doesn't mean you don't try to overcome things, but you want to almost like lean into them versus fighting or resisting, right? So when you have that wall of resistance, like, for example, yesterday, I did not want to run yesterday. Like, I had planned to get up in the morning and run. It didn't happen. So I had a great opportunity in the afternoon where my son, my son had baseball for 3 hours, and I thought, that's perfect. I'll go to the trail. His facility isn't too far from the trail. I did not want to go. I almost just dropped him off and came back home. But I thought, no, you know what? And here's the kind of the shift in thinking I want to impart upon you, and that I'm trying to embrace myself, is just go to the trail and walk. Run when you feel like intuitively pulled to, because that is what happens. Like on a certain, you know, terrain, or if it's downhill, like I know I'm going to feel called to run. But if I go out and hike for 2 hours instead of running for 2 hours, it's better than sitting on the couch for 2 hours, right? So we kind of get down on ourselves when we don't execute what we had in mind or what we had planned. But what we had in mind or what we had planned is kind of developed through our thoughts. And our thoughts are almost like unemotional, if that makes sense. So our thoughts are logical, and our thoughts say, you should do this. They create expectations around things. You know, they judge, you know, when we don't meet those expectations. And I don't know about you guys, but like I tend to go, okay, I'm not going to do that, so I'm just not going to do anything. Well, there's a million other options other than doing nothing. I could go to the trail and I could hike. I could go to the trail for an hour. I could go to the trail for half an hour. All of the above are better than going home and sitting on my couch and doing nothing, right? And I remind myself of what am I truly out there for? So we get wrapped up in some of the superficial things that we think we're doing this for, right? We're doing this to be skinny, to advance our fitness, like some of the kind of achievement-based things. But there's a whole other level. Again, achievement-based things are so superficial. Beneath the achievements are the emotions, really, that the achievements bring to us, right? I don't know if I'm making any sense, but like the achievement isn't really what we're after. We're after the feeling we get when we achieve that thing. So let's say you're after weight loss. That number on the scale means nothing. It's the feelings, emotions, the identity that you attach to that number. Going out and crushing a 2-hour run isn't the goal. The goal is to experience and get something from it, right? Like emotionally. And so remind myself the true reason,
activity completed,
above all else, that I'm out on those trails is to, the trails for me is my place of spirituality, right? It's my place where I clear my head, I dump all the noise, I litter all over the forest, I litter all my negative thoughts or energy, I leave it all out there for the trees to take care of for me. I'm there to soothe my soul. I reflect, I do my best thinking there. You know, I feel most inspired there. my creativity is highest there, all those things, right? That's why I'm really there. I can achieve that just by being there. And so that's how I get myself out there most days. You know, imagine like golfing for you, Betty. Like, yeah, you love the game of golf, but sometimes do you ever feel like you just don't want to go out there and golf? But being on the golf course, especially this time of year, I gotta think is absolutely like stunning. To be out there in the colors, and you know, there's more to it. We need to kind of connect to the deeper reason why we're out there than just the superficial reasons, because those superficial reasons aren't always going to be enough. Anyway, that's my rant today. That this morning, what I felt called to do was sleep. So slept I did. Hey Sherry. Hey Dawn. Oh Dawn, are you back? Are you back from all your amazing travels? Oh, was I ever like inspired by all your pictures? I head to Punta Cana. Oops, what am I doing? I head to Punta Cana next week, which I haven't even thought about. Like I knew it was coming up, and all of a sudden it's almost here. Oh no, that's not what I want. I'm gonna do 30-second sets today. Legs, of course, it's leg day. Well, if you are back, welcome back. Super happy to have you back. I'm sure are you happy to be home, or are you like, I could have stayed forever? Probably a bit of both, right? It looks like such an incredible experience. I am so excited to travel. I don't know if I hold this over as far now because my camera's the other way. Okay, we're gonna start with our step ups. We always do our step ups. You guys, I love them. I do. Okay, so we're gonna go, we're just gonna do a lot of them today because I'm in kind of a like calorie burning, hill climbing, I don't know, kind of mood. I'm gonna grab a lightweight today, working my way back up to a little bit more intensity. Okay, so we're gonna start with just stepping up with one leg. Been doing a lot of these with my trail group on the picnic tables outside. Like, I'm gonna make you guys strong. Look out. So, I've been doing just a lot of self-reflection and studying that I love. Guys, I'm literally obsessed with personal development. Like, I just love learning more about how we tick, essentially, and then how to help people, myself, but also anybody who wants my help, move to a higher kind of level of who they are in life, right? And so I've been reading A New Awakening by Eckhart Tolle, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, which is kind of just all about mindset and contribution to the world. Okay, we're going back to the first leg, but we're just stepping up with that leg this time. Let's see what I mean. We do these all the time. So we're just going up, down, up, down. And then I'm also reading a book about trees. Can't think of the name of it. I actually don't know what the name of it is. It's about I don't really know. I'm only kind of just getting into it, but it's about trees, how they work together, you know, their kind of environment, and it touches on how their environment impacts us, which is really cool because I live that, but I never really give it much thought. So we were away this weekend for my son, Riley. He plays for St. Clair College, plays baseball. It's his second year. So they won the championships last year. And so going into this weekend, they were defending champions, and also they were hosts. So a lot of pressure, you could say, on the St. Clair Saints. Okay, we're going into a squat press. Okay, we're squatting, press. And then they're also second place from regular season. So they, essentially the St. Clair and Humber College are rivals. I think that St. Clair has taken every championship, aside from a couple, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Humber took from them a couple times. Anyways, and Humber, so we're going into lunges, one side, just one side. You can hold your weight up, which is going to increase, it's going to increase your heart rate because your hands are above your heart. It's also going to increase the role your core is playing in the movement. And we're going to go to the other side. After we rest for 10 seconds. It's also going to increase your, give your arms a little bit of a workout or roll. So I would say, so Humber had only lost one game in regular season, as had St. Clair, and each of their losses was to one another. Because Humber beat St. Clair by more runs, they went into the championship weekend ranked first. St. Clair was ranked second. So there was a lot of pressure. Okay, we're gonna do my least favorite. I'm trying to do these regularly, you guys. I'm setting an example for you to do the things that you don't want to do so you get better. It was definitely an uphill road for them if they were going to repeat their win. And they had had a few games recently where definitely doubts in my mind creeped in because they kind of had a couple of meltdowns, so to speak. You know, upsets, let's call them. I'm trying to think we had, so we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Other side. So I knew, and Humber, their arch rivals, had picked up this new pitcher this year who came from a D1 school in the US, so really high caliber ball. Really good player, really good pitcher. Both games, or the game that we lost, he was pitching. Okay, I'm setting up the backstory for you guys. Okay, so this is our first set. So we just did 10 leg exercises, if I counted correctly. 9. I'm gonna take a minute rest. We're doing that set 3 times. A lot of legs today, all legs today. We're definitely bringing it on the legs today. So anyways, going into the weekend, it was like, neither team had to play till Friday, and they played each other. They played 2 games on Friday. They played Fanshawe. So this is the kind of like you have, in every story, you have the hero and you have the, I can't think of the word. What's the word for bad guy in a story? Not evil. Well, maybe. Humber is definitely not as well liked as St. Clair. St. Clair is just a really nice team. Like, they're just nice boys. They just play baseball. Humber is a little bit cocky, a little bit arrogant, a little bit obnoxious. Definitely the ego is very visible in Humber. I honestly could say there's no ego on St. Clair. the alpha dog on St. Clair is the coach. He has them very disciplined. They're very well behaved. They're very, they just play clean baseball, I would say. They're fun to watch. There's a lot of culture. Nobody's the hero on that team. Definitely, obviously, there's players that are stronger than others, but no one, there's no star. And nobody's given that role of being the star. So it creates like community, right? Like it creates a culture of a team, not, hey, this is our star player, just play around him, which is what you see in some of the other teams. Anyway, they won their first game against Fanshawe, who I'd like to give them a little mention in the story because Fanshawe is a team they played, one of the teams they played that caused me to feel that little bit of doubt that I was just talking about, because St. Clair was beating Fanshawe 14-0, I don't know, mid-game, fourth inning, I think it was. And Fanshawe scored 11 runs on them, which was kind of embarrassing. So the point about Fanshawe is they're the underdog, so they're scrappy, they're spirited, they're gritty, and they never give up, which I find, if I didn't have a vested interest in St. Clair and my son's team, I would be cheering for them because they're so, like, they do not give up. They play full on, all heart, like, so that's who they played in their first game on Friday. They beat them 5-3, I think. It was a close game, but they were good. And then they played Humber. Humber is their rival, and Humber played that pitcher that I told you, the D1 guy, and actually he was not on. So St. Clair had full opportunity to rule that game, and I don't know what happened. It was embarrassing. It was a very, very embarrassing beating on their home field. And so that was Friday night. Everybody left feeling, I would say, pretty deflated, ashamed, embarrassed. And the doubts were definitely pretty high. Like, if you almost got mercy. They almost got mercy. It was terrible. It was a train wreck of a game for St. Clair. So what that meant was Humber didn't have to play until 1 o'clock the next day. And all they had to do was beat St. Clair once for the win. St. Clair, if they were gonna win, needed to play 10 o'clock against Fanshawe again. So that was the bronze medal game. And then if they won that game, which earlier in the season I would have said was a slam dunk, but never underestimate the power. So this is the life lesson here, you guys. A couple life lessons here. Never underestimate the power of heart, spirit, and grit. I mean, I don't follow MLB, but I'm pretty sure that Phillies was not expected to be where they are right now. I'm gonna guess that they're the underdog. I mean, last year it was the Braves. The Braves won. The Braves won the World Series. And so the point is, couple things. We base a lot of stuff in life on what we can see, like our physical surroundings, our physical circumstances, like the circumstances that, you know, are visible. What makes sense? Logical steps. Well, I'm here, so the next logical step is here. You know, not thinking, what if we went here, right? We really give way too much stock to logic and circumstance in life. And sports is constantly trying to remind us that our goals in life and our expectations in life do not have to follow like a sensible linear line. Over and over and over again, we're reminded, right? So, and this was no different. And quite frankly, they almost got bumped out. They played Fanshawe. Fanshawe brought it. I mean, Fanshaw's the underdog. The underdog has nothing to lose, so that's the other lesson is never underestimate the power of a spirited, hungry underdog, right? That does not give up, right? So spirit and heart, hunger, and unwillingness to give up. Perseverance, I guess you would say. Woo! Okay, that's set 2. Oh, my legs are feeling it. I have to run after this because I did not get up this morning. When I used to watch my daughter in cross country, I used to love to watch cross country and track and field because I noticed whoever was leading the race pretty much never won. The only time the person who was in the lead for most of the race won is if there's like a huge discrepancy in ability, right? Like, but if you put a bunch of people out there that are competitors, the one that leads never wins. The expected winner, because they won every race that season, because they were in the best shape of their life, all the logical things point to that person, almost never wins. I noticed that in running, and there was every single race there was an upset, right? There was a like, holy crap. So never count yourself out was what I always used to tell her. Like never count yourself out early in the race if you're behind, and never count yourself out. Never assume, and that goes both ways. Like the person who's the defending champ or the expected winner, they have to almost. I think it's advantageous to visualize yourself as the underdog because you need that spirit, heart, hunger, and unwillingness to quit, because that person that's hungrier than you is going to take you down, right? Anyways, and that's what almost happened is Fanshawe came out, and it was a hard game to watch if you're a suck like me. Like if you're a sports enthusiast, it was an amazing game because it was very close, very tight. Neither side was giving up. St. Clair won in the end by 1 run. Fanshawe, their hearts were broken, but holy, if I wasn't cheering for St. Clair, I would have been like, I'd be a super fan of Fanshawe right now. Anyway, so now they had this crazy hard game. Adrenaline is high. They win, and now they're going on to play Humber, the true adversary, and they have to beat them twice. And so they have a lot of work ahead of them still. And Humber just had to come out and beat St. Clair once. So what ensued literally was shocking. Like shocking. Like they put in, so their star pitcher now couldn't pitch anymore. They put in another really strong pitcher. We scored 9 runs in the top of the first inning. We scored 9 runs. I remember sitting there watching it happen going, this is almost eerie. What is happening right now? Like, this is supposed to be a really tight game. My husband thinks Humber just let it go because they could just win the next game. So here's the other interesting thing is, in the history of OCAA, the team that's gone in and needed to win twice has never ever done that. The championship has always gone to the other team. So potentially if they were going to do it, they were going to break history. So, you know, just more doubt. But that game, I think shows the power of what I was talking about, that like in life, like how often do we count ourselves out because of something? Because we think, oh, you know, I had a big talk with my son the other day who, he has big hopes and dreams for baseball, my son Grayson. Big hopes and dreams, but he looks around him, he looks at the physical evidence, right? The circumstance, the logic, and says, well, a kid like me doesn't go very far. So he brings his dreams down and settles for, well, I'll just try to get into a D3 school, or I'll just try to, you know, like he takes, how often do we take what we really want and we shrink it down to what we think we can have? That's what I'm trying to say. Based on what somebody's telling us, based on what's happened in the past, right? Like saying, well, typically, how do you make the MLB? You know, this is the road to MLB. I mean, the road to MLB is littered with side roads that other people have taken and gotten there, you know, through back routes, right? Like, did we forget our lunges? We forgot our lunges. I was so excited to do my split squats there. Not. Whew. Okay, lunges. Did we do our lunges in the last set? I think we did. Woo! And that's kind of what I'm talking about, is that you sit there and you watch. Sports makes the impossible possible, because it gives us evidence to follow the dreams, follow what we really want. You know, St. Clair could have sort of settled and said, well, we'll just do our best. But they sort of said to themselves as a team, like, what if we could be the first team ever to...
Activity completed.
I feel like we missed something to do it. And so the first game, they started out with a 9-run lead. You know, it's never over till it's over. Humber came back and scored 5 runs. I think it was 5 runs. It was kind of back and forth. I think they ended up winning 11-6. Things got really, I had to leave. I don't deal well with competition, you guys. I'm not built for competition. When somebody wants to compete, I go the opposite way. Now, I used to always think that was a weakness, and since finding out that that's actually a strength, because, that's another story, I'll get into that another day, but anyway, I had to go for a walk. I had to leave. My husband's like, where did you go? So I had to go for a walk. I like literally went for a walk away from the diamond into the neighborhoods surrounding. I had to get away. I couldn't stand the pressure. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of side, you know, I just set up 4 exercises. So we're going to do lateral squats, and I want to do glute bridges. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do lateral squats, and each side is a glute bridge. All right? Okay, here we go. So one side at a time. If these bother your knees, remember you can modify them to look like this. Okay? So just focus on the weight of the movement being on this leg. Make sure your chest is up, your head is up, shoulders are back. I like to say boobs out instead of shoulders are back. Okay, and then I'm going to take a 10-second rest and do the other side. I couldn't come back. So here's the other lesson that I took from sports that I think is something that we need to remember in life. The mess, I've talked about this before. The mess, meaning the adversity, the challenges, is in the middle. It's in the middle. The fight is in the middle. So when we set a goal, you know, Mondays, the first of the month, right? January, are new beginnings. It's easy to be super excited. Oh, sorry, glute bridges, one-sided. So one leg's up. It's easy to be excited at the beginning, right? It's the hope is high, right? The hope for success is super high. The belief is high, and so the energy is high, right? Then we start, we create a plan, and we get into it, right? So it's the same in a baseball game or any game. The hope for both teams is high. The belief is high. As the game unfolds, we have a path of logic and circumstances that are being created. And so that belief and that doubt, or that belief and that hope, starts to come unhinged for once the side that is losing, right? Because logic, so in life, success is dependent upon us ignoring the story that's unfolding and holding the faith in the outcome, right? Oh, I said that well. I can never write. I was struggling so hard. Okay, we're taking a rest, and we're gonna do that set 3 times, if we have time, maybe twice. What I was trying to explain, and I couldn't come up with the words, is the outcome is not a result of that mess in the middle, like that logic and circumstance, unless we allow ourselves to believe it, right? So when you're watching a game, how often you're watching a game, hockey, football, baseball, whatever you love, you're playing golf, and it's, in the beginning, you're expecting it to go like this, and what happens is it goes like this. And so you're here, and you can still get here, but only if you hold the faith and the belief that this is where you're going. What we tend to do is go, oh, actually, I guess I'm gonna end up here or here. We start to change the story based on what the physical circumstances are around us. And that's the danger, and that's what holds us back so often in life, right? And so, they won that game. I came back. So I was gonna say, it's like the mess in the middle. Yeah, the middle of a game is always super messy, and it's the teams that overcome that are the teams that hold the vision, hold the faith, hold the belief that they're still gonna win when they come back. And Fanshawe was that kind of team, like literally, it was insane. When the tables turn against you, do you have the ability to see through that? Okay, so they won that game. Now we're going in. And so my husband said he sort of thought that Humber wasn't really too stressed or worried about that game because they probably had quite a lot of confidence in the fact that if it came to a second game, we're going to be done. I mean, the convener said to me, they're going to be tired. They've been playing baseball for over 5 hours. Short rest in between, but like, one would think, but here's the magic, right? I was kind of thinking about this. That mess in the middle, right? That mess in the middle is inevitable in every journey to growth, to a goal, right? It's our ability to resist fighting it to get to the other side. Because once you're on the other side of the middle and you can smell the end, and I can attest to this. This is my, in the middle of a race, you think you can't go on because you just feel so beaten up. You're so tired. Even in a workout, right? You're like in the middle of the workout and you're like, I can't do this anymore. There's no way I can do more. And then when you know it's almost over, you have this surge because you know you're almost there, right? That's how the brain works. So for St. Clair, they had now won 2 of the 3 games. The third game was, the second game was the middle, right? And the third game was the barn door. They just have to get through this game. So they had a surge of energy, whereas Humber hadn't really shown up yet. So they still had to go through the beginning and the middle. And St. Clair, I would say, dominated that game. They just dominated it from start to finish. Not that they could let their guard down, but they sailed through it, and we shut them down with our catcher, which is the best part. Went in to pitch the final inning, and oh, I still get chills thinking of it, because they had, you know, I forget who says this. Somebody says, I think it's, oh my gosh, John Maxwell says, all success is all uphill all the way, meaning, you know, you never stumble into success. You never stumble into victory. You don't accidentally find yourself on the top of a mountain, right? Like, it's all uphill all the way to success. I'm gonna call it there. We're gonna just do a quick couple core exercises. We're gonna do 10 sit-ups and 10 flutter kicks and 10 Russian twists to finish, okay? So yeah, and sorry for babbling on and on and on about it, but I'm so inspired by all of the reminders. Gosh, it's hard to watch though. Like, my stomach can't take it. So my husband said, you need to take that energy and get out of here. And I said, I know, I'm trying to like not feel that. So it's a good experience for me too, because I need to learn to hold the faith better, and oh, it's so hard sometimes though, you guys. Like, you know, do you find that hard? Like, I just can't watch heartbreak. It's so hard to watch heartbreak happen, and that's what it would have been if they had lost that first game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So where are you, ask yourself, in your journey? Are you at the start, the middle, or the end? Are you struggling through right now like a plateau, or like you're doing all the things and you're in the quicksand, you're in the mud, like you're in the effort burr? 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 7, 2, 3, 8, 2, 3, 9, 2, 3, 10, 2, 3. You know, remember to keep going. Remember to have faith. Remember, don't resist, don't fight. Just keep going, knowing that once you get over that hump, you're going to feel that surge of, you know, belief and faith again, and it'll be easy to continue. So have an awesome day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.